gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Welcome back to the Early Bird Special. I'm Chris Burdick. No Sparky, but KG back with us. And today we're talking a little bit of everything. We got Super Bowl to talk about. It's been a couple days. Obviously, we're a little behind, but we wanted to wrap everything up and wait a little bit because we knew something exciting was going to happen in the world of wrestling. And goddamn did it as Ricky Starks makes his NXT debut on Tuesday. I'm very excited to talk about this. But let's start with the Super Bowl. Kimball, what were your thoughts, my friend? I know we're a little bit of football fans here. I'm a Falcons fan, obviously, as you can see from the wear.
You know, I'm
Kimball
a Niner
Woods,
fan.
Niner fan. So we had no horse in the game at all. Neither did we give a shit who won. I think everybody in America was just kind of hoping for a good game, which we didn't get, unfortunately, in my personal opinion. But what say you?
I was just happy to see the Chiefs lose, get blown out, spanked. You know, hey, it happens. You know what I mean? How you recover
it's football,
from
man.
Yeah,
it's
how you
football.
recover from an L is you know, the definition of your, you know, championship grit, I say. So, you know, the Chiefs have got everything going for them. Top-notch organization, top-notch GMs, talent. They can make room. And, hey, they might be back next year. You never know, especially with Patrick Mahomes. They'll be okay. It was good to see the Eagles do their thing and come back and avenge that loss. Unfortunately, the city of Philadelphia paid the price in the after-party aftermath.
We knew this was going to happen either way, though. At least they got the good side. This was going to be a riot if it wasn't. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We've seen worse.
Yeah, so
they didn't grease up the polls at this time either. I was very worried.
You know, so they did their thing. So shout out to the Eagles and their organization. But I think what everybody really, you know, has conversations about right now is the halftime show. The symbolism that went into that, some of it culturally went over people's heads, but you know, not everything is for everybody, and inclusively with hip hop, that is for everyone. A lot of people get it, a lot of people didn't. So let's just talk about the performance piece from Kendrick Lamar, the symbolism in it, the sets, they look great. It was awesome for promoting GNX. It was a great look for TDE and his new album. It's brought to you by Apple Music now, no longer Pepsi, right?
Yeah, it's not Pepsi anymore. Okay. So obviously that's, or at least I feel like there are multiple reasons why you didn't get some of the songs that everybody knows, a lot of the popular ones, which is one of the biggest arguments against the show. Yeah. Let's also remember that a couple years ago, Kendrick did come out with Dr. Dre, played a lot of those songs that everybody was hoping to hear. Yeah. And honestly, you're not going to play them a second time, especially waste a lot of this isn't a full concert. It's a 13-minute situation that you get in the middle of a game that has to be choreographed and set up within weeks. So
yeah, they did a phenomenal job from the choreography to the selection, which I honestly feel like some people are right about. They could have chosen more popular songs, but there's a reason for that in that catalog, which is due to a different deal situation that he has. And of course, you're going to perform the songs that you have more of a financial investment in or control over or reciprocation financially attached to your business, which makes all the sense in the world. But nonetheless, what it represented, it wasn't your typical over the top fireworks and flying halftime show that I think people are used to, wanted, or expected. It sent a message to the community of like, honestly, first, before we get into the message, this is about how hard this man has worked. All right. So Kendrick has done his shit. He's been on his grind for a while. This is a great look. This is a culmination point of dedication. Somebody that is obsessed and nonetheless always trying to better their craft, and the people around them in the hip hop community, for those that more so gravitate towards the Kendricks, the J. Coles, the Joyner Lucases of that genre or specific rap field of capability, because Kendrick is an artist straight up when it comes to his visuals. So if you've never seen a Kendrick Lamar visual or video, and you for the first time were watching the Super Bowl, it gave you a taste of like, oh, snap, creatively. Now, if you didn't get it, just go back and do a little research before you get, you know, in your feelings about being a rush to judgment kind of guy or girl or a situationship on that, where you're critiquing it without having enough information on it. Samuel L. Jackson coming in, being the Uncle Sam. That
was a nice touch.
That runs deep,
That was a nice
especially
touch.
in Black culture. That runs real deep. And that whole embodiment of, oh, you got to know how to play the game, and the way he was, just trying to tell Kendrick, calm down, man. It's a lot of things that we hear culturally as a people that, are taboo in some phrases, in some conversations, in certain circles. So that was like, oh man, I can't believe he's really saying that and talking like this. But it was refreshing. It was dope. It was like a political performance piece. And a lot of people, they just want to black out. They just want to be like, oh man, I just want to be entertained. That's cool. That's great. Maybe next year. But this year, we got Kendrick Lamar over Lil Wayne, which some people had an issue with now. I don't know if you've seen any of Lil Wayne's performances lately. Lil Wayne, he's unk now. You know what I mean? Let's let Lil Wayne have his glory day and all that shit, but I don't think it would have been as clean or prominent as Kendrick did with his performance. No backtracking, all dry, all his own vocals over it. It was great. And when you really understand like how important a hip hop performance piece is, you'll appreciate what he did at the Super Bowl. If not, it ain't your cup of tea. Oh, well, not everything's for everybody. There's a lot of content creators and hosts getting cooked based on their opinion on it that aren't Black, that have people who aren't of the culture telling them, hey, did you miss it? Did you culturally not understand this? So when you got white people telling other white people, you need to walk this back on your opinion about this, it creates an even deeper conversation of more complexities of what I said earlier. Hip hop is for everybody, but there is a culture standard to it of what it originated in. And that's speaking about your environment, speaking about your world around you. And that type of energy made it to the biggest stage in the world. Look at the times we're living in. That is the perfect embodiment of an artist to go out there and perform something that would make somebody feel some shit that has us doing what we're doing right now, and that's talking about it. So I was very like entertained by it. It was cool. And then seeing the rest of the game when the Chiefs getting spanked, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and eat my sandwich and turn off the TV. Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. So I did just that after the game. So it was cool. Nonetheless, I do have one thing I would like to say. Congratulations to Tom Brady. He's the fucking man, bro. He was still getting on Kevin Hart from the ropes.
That was good. His time.
Every time
they find Kevin Hart. That was a good line.
Every time they showed him, I was just like, man, they're gonna end up doing something in a movie. Tom Brady's really starting to grow on me as a commentator. I wasn't too sure about how he would, fare out in that, but I think honestly he's gonna be great. If some of the greats can't coach. Michael Jordan, not a good coach. You know what I mean? Kobe could coach. Doc Rivers, and hey, you know what? You know who else could coach that was a player back in the day? Phil fucking Jackson. It's very rare that we see these guys transition into roles that they're comfortable with. Michael Strahan
played too, didn't he?
Yeah, yes, he did. And also, look, Michael Strahan, he's a great commentator. Fuck, he's on fucking Good Morning America now. So
that's why I feel like you see that more now, is that they need that. I think these shows need that kind of a thing, and that's why you're gonna see this more and more. Like I think Tom, if we continue to see him as a commentator because of the I guess conflict of interest is the best way to put it, between him being an owner and him being a commentator, is going to come into play at some point. But we could see him for the next 5-10 years as well. I've also made this point too to a couple other people. I think it's kind of unfair to judge Tom Brady's first year at this, which was also heavily handicapped.
Super.
For people to know, he couldn't go through all of the meetings and stuff like that everybody else usually gets. So he was running blind for most of these games. And you're comparing it to Tony Romo and other kind of guys who have been at this a couple of years who get all of those luxuries. And honestly, Tony just has a natural fucking talent for it.
Yeah.
Tony Romo is fantastic in his own right. Not trying to compare the two, but it's more of just like, I don't think it's a fair comparison his first year. I think I agree with you 1000% that he's going to be a much better commentator going forward. But I just don't know how long we're gonna get him as the commentator at on for Fox, I should say. But I'm glad you brought up the halftime show though, because I was gonna let you talk about it first. Obviously, no one really gives a shit what I have to say about the context or the.
I do.
I am well, I appreciate that, my friend. I will say my piece first. I am biased. I'm a Kendrick fan, have been for a long time. I am very much on the side of Kendrick won the beef, and this absolutely shut the coffin and put the nail in it, in my opinion, especially with the game over. That's what I took game over to say is, sorry, Drake, you're done. It's over. This beef is done. I'm done with you. I'm not retaliating to you ever again. I just won on the biggest stage I could possibly win.
Yeah.
But as
Drake just got to go back to making music. He'll be fine.
Drake
will be fine, bro.
It's just gonna be like the Pusha T thing. It's all gonna be done. Drake doesn't win rap beefs. It's okay.
We know this. We know this now. It's okay.
No, I just think I personally enjoyed the entire set list because I knew while watching it. That's why I watched it with my brain turned off. I watched it as a fan. If you were a fan going in, you were gonna like this show. I think a lot of people have said that. I've heard Xavier Woods at the WWE say it himself. If you liked this show, you are most likely a fan of Kendrick Lamar. If you did not like the show, you're most likely not a fan of Kendrick Lamar, not a fan of hip hop, or just you didn't care for it, which is fine. It's fair. Nobody's attacking anybody that's saying that at all. But it's more of, I personally enjoyed it because I knew for the next week and a half, I'm going to get to sit down and hear all the fucking stories of what the hell I missed.
Yeah.
Because I knew watching this thing that this was going to be absolutely just one giant roast session, which it was. Yeah. I'm not going to get into the symbolism of everything. I thought the set list was beautifully crafted in the way he did it, especially in the time limit in which he did, because obviously you needed to bring someone else into the show because that's now the running theme is that you have to bring in somebody else to the show besides yourself. That's part of it. So he brought in SZA, who did a fantastic job and didn't. I'm seeing a running thing right now online, and I think it's true that she did not have her performance pre-recorded. She did all of that live, which is very rare if you are in entertainment, especially in these big situations, not in concerts. Usually they do that live as well. But in big situations like games or stuff like that, maybe they will pre-record your session so it actually comes off better, especially for television. I do not.
Audio is great. The audio is great.
And from what I could tell, it was 1,000% her, which I thought was fantastic. But the symbolism, in the set list itself was beautiful, in my opinion, from going to, you start with the divided flag with humble. And then he says, wait a minute. And he goes to loyalty, saying, I've been loyal my entire life. Why the hell am I still doing this? And then moving into the new stuff and all the symbolism with that, losing friends when it comes to Man in the Garden, all that. I thought it was just really, really well crafted. And I personally enjoyed the show. But like I said, take with it of which you will. I'm a white guy who's also a fan of Kendrick Lamar. So that makes me biased as it is. My friend Kimball here is much more equipped to speak on this than I. But
you're doing fine.
I thought the game in general was fantastic. A couple highlights that I do have to get to before we move on to a little bit of wrestling and whatnot. Let's start with the top of this.
1 second before we get into this. Please hold that thought. Don't lose it.
Okay,
make this
I got
as quick
you. What's
as
up?
possible. Okay, so look, if y'all didn't like the Super Bowl, maybe next year, and I'm just fantasy booking because that's what we do on this show. This year, if we didn't have a rap artist, we could have easily slid in like a combo pack. Dr. Dre brought out everybody that he worked with. Would America have been happier with a halftime show with, let's just say, Shabuzi, #1 record with Tipsy, Sabrina Carpenter, #1 record with Espresso, Billie Eilish, #1 record with Birds of a Feather, and Chaperone with Good Luck Babe. We could have smashed all that together and gave them some type of mashup, whatever. Would they have been happy with that? Or would they have said, well, how come we don't have anybody from hip hop is being excluded? Or see, you can't make everybody happy. So I said that to say this, no matter what we get, it's gonna be good. It's the Super Bowl, so people just need to fucking relax a little bit. That's all.
I have to agree, but everybody's gonna have a very heated opinion on the internet. Yeah. We all know this.
Yeah.
And I think I heard it on McAfee. I can't remember where I heard it on this week, but somebody brought up that point of, who is good enough? You know, who is good enough for everybody? Who is good enough to sit there and say everybody on the planet would or will say this was an amazing halftime show? Like those acts don't exist anymore. Oh, you know what I heard it on? It was Flagrant. It was Andrew Schultz. And they brought up a very good point. Like people like Beyonce and Coldplay and all those people have already done it. So they're not going to do it again.
Yeah. And most people have aged out. They just don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it. So
you're not going to get your Walk This Way with Run DMC, Aerosmith. Right. We're not seeing that anymore. So
I see people voting for Bad Bunny. I totally think Bad Bunny could pull off a great show, but then you're going to have the entire segment
internet
in
an uproar, like why you got this Latino Puerto Rican
doing football and like blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, you're not, like Kimball said, you're not going to make anybody happy. You're just not going to happen. And I think Jay-Z being on the board of entertainment, and I think he heads actually the entertainment, don't quote me on that, for the NFL. I think that had a lot to do with Kendrick being chosen as well, and all of this being Kendrick's big year with this Not Like Us record and everything going on. They knew he was going to win Grammys for it. He won 5, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just Kendrick's year. It matters to nobody but Kendrick, because Kendrick doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks about the performance. He liked it. I'm assuming he didn't come out and say, wow, that was really shitty. I could have done a lot better. Kendrick Lamar does not give a shit about what I think, about what any of y'all think. He really does not give a shit. The people who he loves most likely love the show, and he's happy with that. The guy won probably the biggest rap beef we have seen in the last decade, and he did so on the biggest fucking stage on television. And he even got to smile in the face of the man and say his name while doing it.
Hey,
if you are a petty motherfucker, and you know what's hilarious to me?
That's King Petty. He took him to the petty zoo. Real shit.
If you noticed as well, he could have gone one of two ways legally to make this not hurt him in the case that's currently pending against him with all of this with Drake. He either couldn't say Drake's name, or he couldn't say the P word.
Yeah.
Guess which route he went? He said Drake's name.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Hey, that was a smooth move, though.
And you realize how they had file underneath to still kind of like, I didn't call you the word. We aren't calling you that word.
But you know what I'm insinuating.
Exactly.
Because we all know the words to this song.
And that's the beauty of it. Like, they'll try to get him on that anyway. They'll try to get him on the symbolism of all of it, but it probably won't stick in a court of law. So at the center of all of this, I think Kendrick did it beautifully, and I think it was set on a beautiful game. And I think everybody blaming I think they lost like 1.6 million viewers after the halftime show. Let's also remember it was like, what, 24-0, 26, 28-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
The game wasn't
all
competitive.
It was over at halftime. Okay.
And 95% of the people who were watching this game were claiming they weren't going to watch it in the first place. And they're probably just saying, I'm only watching this to watch the halftime show because it's Kendrick.
Or the commercials.
Yeah, or the commercials, in which all of them got fed up and fucking tired of the game at halftime, like most of us. And it sucks to see sometimes, but it is what it is. That's football. I love the fact that the refs actually called these calls against the Kansas City Chiefs and didn't give them those key calls to extend the drives. I'm not going to say I love that Taylor Swift got booed. I'm not a hater of all of this. I really don't get it. I'm on Saquon's side, dude. Like, I don't understand the NFL's fascination with putting her on the screen. That I will say. That is 1,000%. But I also don't understand fans' love for absolutely slandering her when all she's trying to do is watch her boyfriend play football.
That part.
Like, it's just like Haley. Like, are you slandering Haley Steinfeld for watching a fucking Josh Allen Buffalo Bills game in Buffalo?
Can't make everybody happy.
Like, no, we're not. So it's like, it annoys me. Like, we're blaming Taylor for shit the NFL is doing. And that's what bugs me. And let's also put this out there, since I know we love to say this fucking man's name on this podcast, and I'll say it again. They've fucking cheered Trump. Okay. Okay.
It booed Taylor Swift.
It booed Taylor.
It was like a WWE pay-per-view.
Here's my thing, though. I'd be fine with it. I wouldn't give a shit. Like your political beliefs are your political beliefs. I don't necessarily like the man. I'm still a technical Republican, I guess. I'm really no party preference, but it is what it is. Um, Republicans cheer the man. That is what it is. But for him to go on Twitter right after the game and say that the boos for Taylor were because quote unquote MAGA is very unforgiving.
The fuck did that have to do with anything?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why do you got to make yourself the center of attention? Why? Why are we doing this again?
Let's get to the next one, man.
Yeah,
before we start turning into a political show, man. Because we could
we're
go
already talking too much politics.
Yeah.
With the last 10 minutes we got here, so let's get a little bit of wrestling. We know we love to talk about this. There's a lot going on in AEW, which we'll get into its own video here very, very soon because we do got to catch up on that. And I will say this: it's good. I will say it's, at least on my side, I have been pleasantly surprised and pleased with at least what we're getting. And they have a big PLE coming up on Saturday in Australia, so good for them.
Which a lot of people feel gypped about because they assumed with all the pricing that it was going to be a pay-per-view. The stadium got moved somewhere else due to low ticket sales. It's the timing. They wanted to lead, I believe, after the NBA All-Star game or before.
I think so. I know it's after because they don't want to clash with the All-Star game.
Yeah. So to keep the audience.
No, I'm sorry.
Retention,
Is it on Saturday?
Yes.
So it's the games then. It's not even the game. I believe that's all the slam dunk contest and the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
And stuff.
The network wants to keep the audience retention and viewing up. I understand that. That's network calls and all that stuff. So hey, they got to do what they got to do. All right. Tony Khan, he may have all the money in the world, but he still got to work with other people, especially for which his product is being viewed or broadcasted through. So I don't know if it's going to be on Max, but I know it's going to be on TNT. So with that being said, good luck to everybody that
wants to watch.
Yeah.
So moving on to the side that we pay attention more a little bit, the WWE side of things, and I guess TNA, now that all of this is moving forward. Let's start with the big surprise of the week from WWE so far, as we are shooting this on a Thursday. Ricky Starks is finally out of AEW and has signed with WWE, I assume, with his appearance on NXT on Tuesday, coming down from the stands and making a little bit of a promo. I'm very excited to see this because I think that Mark Henry said this very well on Busted Open this week. Or I think it was Mark Henry. It might not have been Mark. It was definitely on Busted Open, though. The NXT is very shallow in terms of male side compared to the females. There is a lot of female competitors that could win many different times.
Female superstars, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The men's side is kind of lacking a little bit right now outside of Trick and Oba. And Trick isn't going to be there very much longer, let's be honest. So they're looking for that next guy that's going to be Oba's number one contender. Is it going to be Eddie Thorpe? Is it going to be is it going to be the chairman? Is it going to be, any of those guys who want to step up? I now, with Ricky coming down, believe it will be Ricky Starks to step up into that seat. But what are your thoughts on that?
I honestly, look, check it out. With all the releases that happened with AEW, I'm not surprised that WWE snatched him up within 24 hours of his public notified release. The thing is, like you said, the lack of star power on the male side. I'm going to just say this. What happened to Tony D'Angelo? He's our North American champion. We have not seen that title on television for a while used in a prominent way.
Well, they just had it,
Usually that title
on Tuesday, though.
But usually that title is used to help build the next contender for our NXT World Championship, which I don't see any credible feuds. I'm not yet. It was on TV, but it wasn't. But did it really feel like? Did it feel like he was a champion? Because we know honestly he can't beat Oba. We know this. Can anyone really beat Oba without some type of circumstantial implementation into the match? It's got to be
besides Trick, not really.
It's got and we know Trick's going up to the main roster, so he's not going to beat Oba. But we still need viable contendership. And I think Ricky Starks is a great injection into the NXT male roster to either take that North American title for it, because the main roster is flooded right now. So to have them just kind of buy some time in NXT, which you can see them also on TNA now that they have that partnership, we could actually see Ricky Starks win a TNA title or beat Joe Hendry or Tony D'Angelo. Any of these things can happen right now.
I could see a champion versus champion of Joe Hendry versus Oba.
Come on now.
Definitely see.
Come on now. They both big guys. They big guys that can bang. You know what I mean? So pause. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, like Ricky Starks didn't say his name. So we're looking at a name change possibly as well. If not, Jay Cargill came right over. With her name intact, we might still see this. Now, Miro is in talks with WWE right now to come back. Aleister Black as well. So will it go?
Aleister would go straight to main roster, though.
Of course.
I wouldn't see Aleister on NXT. Now, Miro would be interesting going to NXT.
Are we going to get Miro or Rusev? Either way, it doesn't matter.
It has to be Rusev.
We're going to get these guys back. Triple H is now doing his shit. And we're going to be good. We're going to be good to go.
Could you imagine, though? Here's my thing. Could you imagine, especially with this being John Cena's final year, we get a Rusev John Cena match again?
Hey,
that's in my opinion, one of the most underrated feuds John's ever had in his career.
Wasn't it for the U.S. title?
I believe so. No, I think that was for one of the main titles. I think Umaga was for the U.S. title, because Umaga is also a really good one, too.
Where Rusev came out on that tank, that WrestleMania. Who did he fight where he came out on that tank?
Oh, you know what? That might have been. You know what? You're right. You're right. I think that might have been.
And I think that started John Cena's like open challenge thing that he usually has going.
But yeah, no, I think that would be a lot of fun to see John go down, because there's probably a list of people who want to get a piece of John at least once before he retires. I'm sure Solo being on the top of that list now that he's finally back on the roster too, after his long and more, like, again, very, very deserved break off SmackDown for a while. We'll finally hear what's going on with him and the bloodline here on Friday, and if Jacob's actually been listening to him or if he's just been doing whatever the fuck he wants. But I don't know. Ricky Starks being in NXT is a really cool thing for me, because I don't want to say I've been underwhelmed with Shawn Spears, but I kind of have. He's one of those guys that's kind of been just lost in translation down there. I guess I wouldn't say the same for Tony D'Angelo, but that's only because he has the title, I guess, and you're kind of forced to put him in those types of situations. But I think you're right. If he didn't have it, we would kind of be on the weird side of all of this. However, it does look like the family may be losing Channing here pretty soon, from where its storylines kind of are leading. And also, everybody else, I mean, like I said, I'm still trying to rack my head around who could take down Oba, because I really can't think of anybody, because it's not Ethan Page. It's definitely not, or I shouldn't say definitely not Ethan Page, but it just, that matchup doesn't seem
not right now. It's not Ethan Page. Yeah.
Javon Evans, not really believable yet. I could
still
see
got some time to grow.
If you got him on some sort of like incredible face kick and push, I could see it. But he needs a lot of momentum to be able to dethrone him. And that's why I think the only competitors that I could see that could come in besides Ricky Starks, no, it's got to be from TNA.
Yeah, somebody.
And I think eventually we are going to get that. I think we are going to get more of like TNA and NXT being essentially Raw and SmackDown. Like, the rosters might blend a little bit here, especially with this partnership going multiple years. It could just be a merger it's a soft merger at the moment.
I really hope that with the WWE releases that just happened, we see those guys come up in TNA. I really do. It's just right now the roster is bloated with talent.
If you're not watching too that the WWE LFG on A&E right now, the Legends and Future Greats,
has it started yet?
Yes, it started this last Sunday.
Okay,
fantastic so far. I really like how this show is going. Obviously traditional game show, I guess, is the best.
It reminds me of like the NXT when Triple H was in there telling everybody to take a bump. and until they damn near threw up.
It's going essentially because that's essentially what this is. NXT has evolved into its own thing and is no longer the feeder system. So what this is this is going to be the feeder system because this has a lot of guys in there that have been on Level Up and stuff. If you've been paying attention to that, also, one of the guys in there that I'm very excited to see is Shiloh. I love this dude. Like, if you don't follow him on fucking Insta,
Evolve. WWE has purchased Evolved. It was already a developmental for WWE before NXT came to the forefront, but now Evolve is actually on Hulu.
I'm not sure which one it is because my voice.
But it's on something. You can view Evolve, which is fucking awesome. Austin Theory was an Evolve Pro champion and did a great. That's how he got noticed by WWE. He was killing shit down there. So like, just go back on YouTube, find Evolve Pro Wrestling, and you'll see a lot of familiar faces that are on the main roster now or in NXT that were killing shit back then, man. Just saying.
So with the announcements of all the releases and stuff that we heard, I know AOP is gone. Isla Dawn, unfortunately, was let go, amongst others. I think Sonya Deville. Obviously, this brings up the questions of who else was signed by WWE because these moves aren't exactly just coming out of nowhere. This company is not hurting, so obviously this isn't a situation where they think that they don't have the money to keep them. It's obviously a storyline situation. And we were talking off air of this, but what are your thoughts on potentially those people who were let go, quote unquote? It's more released, like free agency and basketball and stuff. They're looking to go to a new team. What would happen, do you think, if Sonya Deville potentially made a run on the TNA roster?
I think it'd be great because then she could get those reps in. That women's division in TNA is fire.
And it could benefit from someone like Sonya.
Yeah, it really could. She's got top level experience. It may have not worked out character wise for her, but she's a good hand. She reminds me a lot of Deonna Purrazzo. She's not the woman of 1,000 holds, but she is a good hand and she's great to work with. Now, if she gets the right character arc to help build a whole new Sonya Deville, we're going to see a star being born. Unfortunately, I feel personally her promo game could use some work. I haven't seen her cut one in a while, but the ones I do remember weren't that polished or spectacular. Now, if we put her in the right situation with the right stable, she like this whole thing in WWE, she was just with the wrong group of people, man. Shayna Baszler, I'm glad she still is there because shit, what they gonna do with her? Like she can kick anybody's ass.
Zoe Stark too. I think Zoe, the entire faction is really up in the air at this point.
Look, I'm just gonna say this. You mean Zoe Botch? Every time.
I know you're right.
I'm not talking shit. She is awesome. When she was in NXT, she was handled
one of the best champions, dude.
She was handled right in NXT.
Her runs with EO and stuff were awesome. And I just think it's just she's trying to impress.
It pisses me off.
And it's not going the way she wants it to, which is unfortunate. I like her, but I think this is also the problem with the women's side, of at least the main roster, is they're kind of lacking in, I'd say, tag titles. Because having one set of tag titles, although now we obviously have the Intercontinental and U.S. championships for the women, there's still opportunities for some of these women that are lacking. Obviously, with the Intercontinental and the U.S. championships, there's only so much you can do, and I really don't see Zoe or anybody, or maybe even Shayna, going after either of those because I think Shayna's too big for that now.
Yeah,
I don't see Shayna going after those mid cards until she's like on the back end of her career.
I want to see Shayna go on a fucking tirade, on a bully run, and just kick everybody's fucking ass. At least,
and I think they could. Honestly, what about that pitch right there? What if fucking Zayna? Actually, you can call it even that if you wanted to.
Yeah, because just them two now.
Zoe and Shayna teamed up and essentially did a female version of the Dudleys.
That'd be dope. Look, the female elimination chamber is coming up. We need Shayna Baszler in that. I'm just saying. It adds.
I agree. It adds a great addition.
It adds a credible threat to any one of the potential contenders. As someone who could viably take their opportunity. We also have Money in the Bank coming up. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget that shit. we could see a lot of these things happen before WrestleMania that are implemented into the storylines as we move closer to it that are beneficial to the whole showcase in Las Vegas for WrestleMania 41. The women's division, I feel like, kind of with Jordan Grace being there as well, we're going to try not to get too excited about this, but I'm ready for her to take the main title strap, either one of those. As soon as we're done with this Charlotte Flair shit, as soon as we're done with this Rhea Ripley shit, I need to see that happen with her and get some good feuds under her belt before we start giving her that Superwoman push, because I don't know if they have the rights to the trademark Juggernaut, but she was the female Juggernaut in TNA. And if we could get that same energy brought over this main roster push for her, I think we're going to be good. Another thing I want to say is eventually, what are we going to do with Tessa Blanchard? She's the women's world champion in TNA. We're partnered with WWE. It's only a matter of time before it's a yay or nay on Tessa Blanchard, and then we have to address all the controversy that goes with that in due time. But we'll see. I just wanted to put that in people's mind to let them know we said it first right here on Early Bird. So just be prepared for that. Scarring the Lion King. Be prepared.
I don't think Tessa is going. If Tessa has any matches with WWE talent, it'll most likely be on TNA. I don't think Tessa's coming to WWE anytime soon. But then again, I mean, CM Punk is here, so we never knew.
She could be in the Rumble next year.
It's true. This is entirely possible. We never know what's going on. But since we're already talking about the Elimination Chamber, let's end on that before we get out of here. We already have a couple qualifiers that have finished. We know CM Punk is going to be in it. We know John Cena is going to be in it. We know that, Drew McIntyre is also in it. And at this point, Logan Paul somehow snuck his way in it with a match against Rey Mysterio. We will not get into that.
Great match.
It was a fantastic match.
Yeah.
Let's not get into our thoughts on that match, please.
Great match.
But at this point right now, 2 spots left. One of the matches is Seth Rollins against Finn Balor. I'm assuming that is not going to go Finn Balor's way, and Seth is going to somehow sneak his way in there. But then again, who knows? Maybe Seth doesn't pull this off, and actually Finn somehow sneaks his way in there and gets his chance at a championship. Because I would like to see Finn get some sort of... I'd like to see Finn potentially be the guy to sneak in there and take that championship match away from these guys.
And remember, there's always the possibility that someone's chamber spot could get taken or replaced.
It's true.
Always. We've seen instances where somebody gets hurt before or the day of, storyline wise, and boom, we've got a secret competitor in there, or some type of schnoz happens to where somebody gets eliminated early and somebody else slides in there via, like Bobby Lashley that one year when he went into the chamber hurt and they had to, find a way to get him out of there without, fucking him up even further, which right. I think also made room for Brock Lesnar in some type of situation.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that the one for the U.S. title where Brock had F5'd Austin Theory off the top of the thing?
I believe so.
I think that's the same one. But I'd like... So, okay, with that being said, we obviously know that it's going to either be Seth or Finn. We won't disclose who we think it is. The other match will be decided tomorrow when Jacob Fatu, your boy, takes on Damian Priest and Braun Strowman in a triple threat match.
Hell, we might as well see this whole arena get burned down. Hell, we ain't even going to get to the main event. You know why? Yada-da-me. Because the Samoan werewolf ain't going to be shook. 5, 2. That's my boy.
Sorry, I'm assuming you're taking your boy tomorrow to qualify as the 5th entry of the Elimination Chamber.
I'm going to keep it real. We've got Braun Strowman.
Yes.
We've got Jacob Fatu.
Yes.
And we have Damian Priest.
Yes.
Damian Priest.
I'm actually going to go with Damian Priest.
I'm going with Damian Priest because I can really see Braun Strowman and Jacob destroying so much of each other. It leaves the opportunity for Damian to get the pin over Braun to keep Jacob looking strong, and boom, Jacob kicks both of their asses and thus is just tripping the fuck out, doing his whole shit and all that. I want to see it all.
I don't think this feud between Jacob and Braun is done yet. I think we're going to see that a little bit longer before we finally get Jacob in an actual title situation. So I think we may even get a round 2 between Jacob and Braun, a Monsters Clash once
that
again
would be
Elimination
great.
Chamber.
That would be fucking great.
And that might be the route they go. So I do agree with you. I think it's going to be Damian Priest as well to clock it in. But
might as well.
Let's end it with this then, my friend. In our last 3 minutes here, I'll give you half of it and I'll take the other. Fantasy book Elimination Chamber on the men's side. We'll handle the women's side in the next episode. So right now you're sitting with, well, we'll say I'll let you decide on Raw who you think is going to win on the Raw match on Monday. So you got John Cena, you got CM Punk, you got Drew McIntyre, you got Logan Paul, and we both agreed on Damian Priest being the 5th to win in tomorrow. So set that and then pick your 6th and who wins.
Seth Rollins will be my 6th. Damian Priest will be the other guy in there. So we have a full chamber. Who's winning that shit? John Cena.
You think Cena's coming out the winner?
If he doesn't,
all of this hoopla?
If he doesn't, hey, next pay-per-view we'll see. But if not, hey man, I want to go with Cena. My instincts tell me Cena.
No, pick Cena. I think Cena is a very, very good bet. I think you're onto something on that one. But
I feel like his opportunity will be challenged, and he'll lose his number 1 title, like contendership, at some type of event or whatnot, and desperately try to get it back.
Glad you chose John Cena because I'm going to take a different one here. Personally, I'm going to agree with you that Damian Priest wins tomorrow, but Monday, I'm going to give it to Finn Balor. I think that Seth is most likely going to have to win his way in a different way. And I think that's because Seth already has the star power to kind of already weasel his way into one of these matches. But coming out of this match, especially if you have the 6 that you have, I would love to say that John Cena is the winner in this. I don't see that happening, though, because I don't see John Cena winning that main title. It just, with the losing streak he has been on, I get it that with his tenure.
Oh, yeah, he's not beating Cody. Let me just say this. He's not beating Cody, but it'd be a great way for him to, get in there. But, go ahead. Because...
No, I'm sorry. You're right. But it's just, the WWE knows this. We've said this on this show. You don't book a face in a face. And unless you're planning on flipping Cody, you're not flipping John. I'm sorry. Like, you've already tried this once with The Rock. It didn't work very well. The matches were okay, but I mean, he's had better rivalries. And personally, I think it would be more compelling if it was CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes rather than John Cena.
I'm going to use one of my fantasy booking cards before we get out of here. John Cena wins Elimination Chamber, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Randy Orton comes back out of nowhere and challenges him for it. And then we see Orton versus Cody at WrestleMania.
That's the rumor I hear, is that potentially we could even get a triple threat of Randy, John, and Cody ends up winning against the 3 of them, which I could totally see, because I would love to see one last bout between Randy and John before John retires.
Come on, man.
One of my favorite rivalries as well, besides the Rusev rivalry. That is eternal, of John Cena versus Randy Orton. And that's another series. Actually, if you're watching it on A&E, go watch WWE Rivals, because it is also a fantastic thing to go check out myself if you're a wrestling fan. But other than that, that is all we got for you this week on EBS. Thank you guys for listening. Like, subscribe, share with your friends as always. Kimball, my friend, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Wash your damn hands and
wash your ass.
Yeah, wash your ass and drink plenty of water.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially in these times right now, this flu, you do not want to fuck with it. I promise you, it's not fun whatsoever. And if you think you're drinking enough water, you're not. Drink more.
Yeah.
It's okay. Drink more. You can always drink more.
It's good for you.
You can throw some water in that Gatorade. It's okay. It's all right. You're supposed to do that. But thank you guys once again for listening. Catch us next time. Hopefully more videos coming out in the next couple of weeks to come. We're going to start expanding the show into a little bit more of an entertainment side, not just talking a little sports. We're going to talk a little movies and stuff like that with some of our friends. Some collector friends will hopefully be joining us as well. And we'll have some more opportunities to go out there and see you guys and talk more about what the hell you guys want to talk about, what you guys want to hear, and hopefully get you guys a little more involved in these videos as well outside of just the live stream.
I'm excited for these movie reviews and breakdowns we got coming up, man. So, hey, EBS, let's go, baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're trying to expand a little bit and widen our range to what you guys want to hear. So let us know in the comment section below what you guys want. But that is all we got for you once again. Thank you guys for everything, and thank you guys for listening. Peace out.